Hey guys, and welcome to YouTube. I wanted to do something a little bit different today and take you through a back bridge session that I did this week. In the latest episode of the podcast, I was talking to Alana Jones, and she was saying that she thinks a back bridge is an essential feat of flexibility.
There's a lot of stages to be able to get into a bridge, and it's one of the ultimate ways to relieve any kind of back tension, back tightness, and just get a bit more bendy there.
That seemed a bit outrageous to me because bridges are hard. But I figured I'll give it a go. So this was the first time I did a bridge in probably over a year. Usually the limiting factor is my wrists because I keep hurting them. I am a hypermobile person. I am also very clumsy. There have been many an accident that has happened to this wrist specifically. Dating back, the first one I remember is when I was 12, I jumped out of a window and broke my wrist. Now, if I wasn't hypermobile, there's a good chance that when I landed, because I landed on my feet in a squat, I should have actually been fine, but then I had no balance and I just rolled back because my ankle was just a jelly. Then I broke my wrist. And it's basically been a series of unfortunate events since then. So I sprained it in maybe 2019, miscatching a clean PB, would have been a PB. I failed, and I crushed myself. My elbow hit my knee, got crushed. No good. Many a pain. And then again, re-hurt it, just overtraining snatches, and then I fell in my skates one time. Anyway, moral of the story is this wrist has been through a lot, and usually whenever I've tried to train bridges, this has been the limiting factor. So what I did this week was really make sure to warm my wrists up first. I did that with a wrist series. This is a wrist series that I take a lot of my clients through when they're trying to do things and their wrists are getting in the way. So I'm going to share some of that here. I didn't actually film the wrist series that I did on Tuesday, so I'll just share a video clip from the wrist series that I send out to my clients.
These palms flat on the floor. You're just going to make circles in one direction and then the other direction. Fingers outways and rock from thumb to little finger. Then fingers inways and just rock back.
After that, I did 2 or 3 rounds of prone hovers. I did these holding a weight to make it a little bit more hard. Really trying to be very intentional. The goal was to warm my shoulders up so that they were ready to do the hard thing. And then I also did a bunch of wrist curls and swirls. So curling this way and then swirling that way. Probably has a real name. But curls and swirls sounds cool, so that's what I'm going with. And then I also did a bunch of plank dogs into push-ups where basically you're in your plank and then you're driving your hips diagonally back into that downward dog position and then back into your plank and then into a push-up and then round and round we go. I did 2 or 3 sets of those of 5 to 10 of the plank dog push-ups and of the hovers and then a bunch of the wrist curls. Not super heavy with the wrist curls. I think I was using either 3 or 5 kilo dumbbells. I can't remember. Just doing loads until my forearms felt warm. Hot. The goal of that was just basically to make sure that my wrists and my shoulders were ready for the hard things that were going to come, right? Because that's the bit that's the hardest for me anyway. I also did a bunch of prone back extensions during this time as well, which I didn't film these either, so I'll just put a different video clip of some back extensions. I did a couple of sets of 10 of these, really squeeze my glutes to make sure my hips stay down, really trying to lift my chest up, trying to get my back to start bending, warming it up before the next hard things. So once I did that, I did 3 rounds, I think, of these ROS sit-ups that I learned from Lucas at Range of Strength, where basically you're doing a back bend to a target and then contracting your abs to pull yourself back up. I was really focusing on squeezing my glutes to push my hips forwards to try and get as much of the movement to come from my spine as possible and not to just end up coming from my hips or from my knees. You want to do at least 3 rounds when you're doing stuff like this because the first round's not going to be great and then each round you're going to feel like you can go a bit more far. As you're bending back, I was really focusing on trying to lift from my chest as much as possible to really try and bend my back. I superset this with some cross bench pullovers. I saw a video of Arnold Schwarzenegger teaching someone how to do this week, and I love that because sometimes you think about bodybuilding and you're well, it's all very simple, straightforward, straight line stuff, but that's just because modern bodybuilders don't have any imagination. But if you look at the old bodybuilders, They do a lot of weird things, and this is one of them, and I love it, especially specifically for training towards a back bridge or for just building some flexibility through that extension in your spine. So I'll show you the video here. You can see I'm resting my upper back on the bench, resting my head on the bench as well. So the bench is going to act as like a support, almost like someone putting their hand there for like a supported bridge sort of, and then starting in that tabletop position, holding the weight. And you want to lower your hips and your arms back at the same time, so moving simultaneously into that stretch, and then squeeze your glutes and squeeze your lats to come back up to meet in the middle. I was doing sets of like 5 of both of those things, so the sit-ups and the pullovers, for 3 sets. You could do maybe a 4th set if you wanted to. I just wanted to get on with it, but that is up to you. So then from there, I got a little ball to use as a little support, and then I did some bridge push-ups over the ball. So I used the ball to kind of help me find my position and try and figure out like what a bridge felt like. And in the first couple of reps I did, I was all arms and no legs, so I ended up all the way over my knees. So again, this is a good reason why you want to make sure that you're getting a bunch of reps in and also doing a bunch of sets. So I did 3 or 4 sets of maybe like 5 or 6 of these, really trying to like drive with my legs to get me more upright, to come straight up rather than to come over to my legs. And really, as my flexibility improves and as my legs get stronger and my coordination gets better, you want to push more towards your arms so that your upper back is stretching more. But I'm not very good at this, so this was my best effort. Once I'd done a bunch of those, I was ready to have a go at a bridge. Now, because I knew I was driving towards my knees a bit, I did my first set of bridge against a wall, or like near a wall, so then if my knees went forward they would crash into the wall as a bit of like tactile feedback, right? And then once I'd done a set of like max effort hold against nearby the wall, I was like, okay, that was actually better than I thought, because historically I've been like 3 to 4 seconds max, and then my wrist hurts or my shoulders hurt, or I just like feel like I'm dying. But I think I got like 8-9 seconds. That was pretty cool. So then I had 2 more sets. I did 2 more sets away from the wall, feeling brave, feeling confident, and I held those for like 10 to 12 seconds, I think, max. And like, it felt hard. It did feel hard, but it didn't hurt. And it felt like I was actually doing a bridge, which is not normally what it feels like. The only way I've really felt that before was last year when I was going to circus school, and the instructor like grabbed me from behind the shoulders around my thoracic and like pulled me towards her, because I couldn't get into that position by myself. And like, I didn't do it as good by myself as I did with assistance, but it was the best that I've ever done, so I was pretty happy with that. And I think I'll keep these in the rotation. I kind of am working on like a 10 to 14 day cycle, so the main stuff is happening every week with a lot of the accessory stuff coming in and out. So I've been doing a split session every week, but I might every so often add in this bridge session, because in an unexpected turn of events, the next day on Wednesday when I was weightlifting, it was a jerk day. And my back was so sore on Wednesday, because flexibility DOMs are unlike anything else. And I really didn't think I was going to amount to much in that day, you know? But weirdly, my jerks were better. Not like heavier, but like better. I was getting my chest through my arms a lot more in that top position, and they felt good. So I think the moral of the story is that actually doing the bridge training is going to make my weightlifting better, which I wasn't expecting, but now that I say it out loud, makes a lot of sense. So I'll let you know how that goes. I'll keep you posted if you're interested. And if you want to give this session a try, I'm by no means a bridge expert. This was a session I put together based on my general understanding of strength and flexibility, and thinking about the way I did it was thinking about what I wanted to achieve and then working backwards. So then being like, okay, how do I get here? Here are a couple of shapes that help me get there. How do I get there? Here are some shapes that will warm me up to be able to do there. What are my limiting factors? My wrists. Let's do loads of things about my wrists at the beginning to make sure that that's not the limiting factor anymore. And you can kind of do that with a lot of things, depending on what it is you're trying to achieve. If you are not sure how to do that, sometimes reverse engineering it is a solid approach. With flexibility training, it's kind of the same as strength training, but almost the inverse. So like in strength training, if you're having like a big deadlift day, you would put that at the beginning, maybe a little bit of warming up, but not spending too much juice on the warm-up, so you can spend all your juice on the deadlifting, and then the accessories come afterwards. But when it comes to flexibility training, it's the reverse. So you want to start with your accessories warming up, so then you're culminating in the big bend, right? So that's your big lift, the back bridge or like splits or whatever. Finishing with the hard thing, because you can't start with the hard thing in flexibility because you're just not going to be able to get into those positions. Anyway, I hope that this was interesting for you and maybe even helpful, and save this if you want to try it, and let me know if you do try it, because I'm dead interested to know how your back bridge is going, and also if you found that bridge was helpful with jerks, if you're also a weightlifter. Let me know, and I will speak to you soon.